Hey guys, Ricio here. Welcome to the first installment of Retro Thursday. Now in Retro Thursday I will be playing all of these in this first video I wanted to show what retro consoles I had. And then I'll leave it up to you to tell me which one you want to see. So to start off, the Atari 2600. I really like this console. I think it's good. I think for its time it was revolutionary, but I like it. The 7800, which was released after the 5200 failed. I don't have that yet. I plan on getting it, but not yet. The 7800 is backwards compatible with this, which means you can play Atari 2600 games on the 7800, which I think is pretty cool for the time. The Atari Jaguar, released some time after this. It was to compete with other 5th generation consoles, such as the PlayStation 1 and the N64 and the Sega Saturn. This was the console that killed Atari, but I still like it. Moving on, so that's all my Atari consoles so far. Moving on to Sega. We have the Sega Master System, which was the SG-1000 in Japan, but it was released over years in the Master System. It didn't do very well in America, but in Europe and Brazil it did really well. The Mega Drive. The Mega Drive was Sega's most famous console. It gave birth to such classics as Sonic the Hedgehog, which... moving on. The Sega Saturn. Sega released this earlier than when they said, and it didn't do very well for Sega. It was hard to develop for. It was a good console, but it was competing against the PlayStation 1 and the N64. And then finally we have the Dreamcast, Sega's last home console to be released. And what just killed Sega from making consoles was the PlayStation 2, and Sega ran out of money by that point, and it's a good console as well. Moving on to Nintendo. We got the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES. In Japan, this was released as the Famicom, the family computer. It blew America by storm, this console. It gave birth to the Mario games and the Zelda series and Metroid, Star Fox, Mega Man and other classics. This is a good console. The Super Nintendo, or the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or the SNES. This was made to compete with the Mega Drive. It beat Sega by, not much, but it did. The Nintendo 64. Nintendo, during the SNES time, they were developing a CD add-on for the SNES with Sony, which didn't really work out, and Nintendo decided not to go with CDs for the next console, and they went with cartridges instead. it didn't really work for Nintendo. The console was successful, but it didn't. It was harder to develop for cartridges, and it was more expensive than the CD ones. But overall, it was a success. The Nintendo Gamecube. Now, I like the Gamecube, but no, it wasn't going to beat the PlayStation 2. And it didn't. It didn't beat the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox, which I do have up there. The PlayStation. This was created because of Nintendo's betrayal to Sony. As I said, Nintendo was releasing with Sony a CD add-on for the SNES, but Sony wanted the rights to the CDs, the CD games, and Nintendo weren't happy with that. So Nintendo broke off the deal with Sony and went with Philips instead. But that didn't work either. So Sony made their own, the PlayStation, which beat the competition. All the 5th generations, the PlayStation 1, that generation. And I really like the PlayStation. I'm a huge PlayStation fan. And also I do have slim versions or the original versions of the 2600, the Mega Drive, and the PlayStation. But I thought there's no need to show the same console twice. So, in the comments below, for next week, you can choose whatever console you want, and I'll do a whole video on that particular console. This is it for Retro Thursday for this week. Bye guys!